Firescape Engineers Inspector Summary video. We're here in Bellwood, Illinois, and what we have is a fire escape here that is probably 50 to 75 years old. It's covered two things: must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. So let's talk about the paint job. The paint job is in good order, and it needs some spot painting in order to make it pass. Otherwise, it's supposed to be painted every 3 years fully. The fire escape older than 78 means it does have lead, so anybody touching this fire escape must have a renovator's license and the proper training through the EPA Renovators License Program to know what to do with the scrapings and the chips that are going to be collected when you scrape and paint this fire escape. This is a confidence test. This confidence test is to determine whether this fire escape is structurally sound and ready for a load test. The load test is the guarantee that the fire escape will carry a load of all the people leaving this building. It does not pass the confidence test for the following reasons. It does need to have some spot repairs done to it, which I will detail, and then it can be load tested. Or if you want to refurbish the entire fire escape, you avoid the load test altogether. So let's talk about some of the issues. First of all, we have an existing structure here that has all original hardware, 50 to 75 years old, and there's no evidence of any maintenance. You've got welded supports. These supports have to be x-rayed or load tested wherever there's a weld, or we can drill through and bolt it and avoid the load test or the x-ray by bolting the supports. The through bolts into the building are here. We need to verify that from underneath or duplicate that bolt connection in order to avoid the load test. All the clips coming up here that hold the string is all original hardware. Need to be changed out to avoid the load test, or verify that and seal the original connections and then load test it in order to verify original hardware. The weight box here is all full of rust. This weight box is all full of rust, and basically, this is ice jacking and rust jacking. It's popping, and all these plate bolts are all compromised. So we need to clean this out, change the bolts, or clean this out, seal this from any more water intrusion once you've cleaned out 100% of the rust, and then create new drill holes through and reattach or a bracket around this. Treads, they're all truss rods, but there's some of these have expansion of rust in them. As we go down, you'll start seeing some expansion of rust inside them, especially the ones down below. And so what that means, you got to open them up, clean them, and then put them back together and seal them from water intrusion. You can also, to avoid the load test, you can just add some additional bolting to it so that the fire escape will not need a load test. So rebolt, keeping the original truss rods and backing up with 2 bolts on either side. This whole platform has rust growth and original hardware. So rust growth, original hardware, some debris blocking, gotta get rid of that. Rust growth. So that all needs to be done. This is a cantilever. What you're supposed to have here, and we showed in the photograph, you're supposed to have a release arm right here. When I release this arm here or up at the stairs up here, depending, you can put the release arm in various locations. It's going to drop this cantilever 2 to 3 feet per second, hit the ground and stay down. Right now, Joe's got to hold it down there, because if he lets it go, what's going to happen is this. Joe, can you step back a little bit and let it go up by itself? The cantilever wants to go up by itself, and this chain over here is in the wrong location. This is a chain indicating that, see the big, so now in order for this thing to, see, it's very violent. This is not, it's balanced backwards. So this is supposed to be balanced to drop 2 to 3 feet per second, hit the ground and stay down. We need to verify the through bolt. So here I am stepping on 3 to 5 steps. I have to activate. I'm stepping on this right now, as you see, and it's coming down too violently. So this must be addressed. Must be balanced and put back in order so that it released up above. By the time they get down here, it's already in its down position. This pivot arm is already showing some signs of wear. It's tilting a little bit. So we have to verify whether or not the bracket and everything that's here is in proper order. Make sure it's through bolted correctly so that it doesn't need to be load tested. It is tilting ever so slightly. Some of these treads, see the rust inside? All this rust inside must be cleaned, and then when you clean it, prime it, paint it, you got to silicone it so that the water doesn't get back in there. All original, anything welded must be bolted to avoid having to x-ray the weld. So this is bolted, but this is welded. I need some bolts here to basically back up the fact that I don't want to x-ray the fire escape. I got that bracket there full of rust. Going down, the whole treads, all these treads need to be cleaned. It's not hitting properly at the ground. As you can see, this side needs to be adjusted so that both sides hit firmly, otherwise there's a huge wiggle. Hold on to it, please. Any welded connections, x-ray, these start rotting from the inside out. But as soon as we clean it, verify it, seal it, we bolt it, we avoid the need for a load test. Any original hardware must be swapped out to avoid the load test. Give it a scrape and paint. Because you have lead-based primers, this thing has lead. Must be an EPA renovator in order to touch it. See the rust inside the connection there? All that must be cleaned out and then reattached. See the bolts, the welded, and then it popped because the rust through ice jacking and rust jacking, it popped. So everything must be rebolted, sealed with silicone. Now, no welding on a fire escape that has lead. Because it's already a bolted fire escape, you're going to do everything with mechanical bolting. So no welding because it has lead on the fire escape. So it must be a full mechanical repair. So you have an option here: spot repair the fire escape and then fully load test it, 100 pounds per square foot, platforms and treads. A document must be generated for the city official to approve. The building department is going to approve a repair plan and a load test plan for this fire escape. Or if you fully refurbish the fire escape, that plan must be approved to avoid the load test. Both fire prevention and the building department must be involved in this process so that the building department will issue the permit, but the fire department will review to make sure that all the fire escape is in compliance, because it's mainly firemen that's going to use this, and once this is done, both departments will be satisfied. Any questions? Fire escape engineer. This is Mr. Meneses here. 866-649-0333. 866-649-0333. Fire escape engineer's inspector summary video. What we have here is a fire escape in Bellwood, Illinois, and this fire escape must be structurally sound, must be kept painted, must pass a confidence test and proceed to a load test or be certified to avoid the load test. The authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. The fire escape right now is showing the ability to be load tested once we take care of a few minor issues, or we can refurbish the entire fire escape and then it will avoid the load test. Otherwise, on average, every 5 years you must load test your fire escapes 100 pounds per square foot, both platforms, stairs, and that is to verify that the connections or the fire escape will take. Any welded connections must be x-rayed or load tested, and any original hardware must be swapped out to avoid the load test. So let's take a look. This fire escape is showing evidence that it's probably 30 to 50 years old, original to probably when the building went up in the 60s, I was told. So it's out of balance. So when I come down, I have to have a release arm here so that I can release the fire escape cantilever, and it needs to drop 2 to 3 feet per second and hit the ground. Right now, as we showed with Joe, you have to step out about 5 or 6 treads, and then it starts to activate, hits the ground violently, which is not the proper way. So it must release itself, hit the ground, stay down so people can self-evacuate and firemen can get back on. So the original hardware is a combination of hex heads, showing that it's in the 25 to 50-year-old range. Not much rust in any of the connections. I got some rust in the platforms here, but again, it needs to be cleaned, sealed so that water doesn't get back in there, so that we can clean all this. This can't be opened, it has to be sealed. So again, minor work to be done to this fire escape in order to prepare it for a load test. This right here is showing some welded connections, and again, all welds must be x-rayed or load tested, or if we re-bolt it or refasten it with some other means during the rebalancing, it'll avoid the load test. Here the same thing with this platform. So the fire escape is not showing any huge wear, but other than the treads are in good order. But if you want to avoid load testing the treads, you can throw a couple of more bolts besides the truss rods, and that way you can guarantee it. Otherwise you have to load test all these treads to get the guarantee. An opinion puts the responsibility back onto the ownership of the building and back onto the city, because the load test is the guarantee. An opinion has disclaimers. Any wraps, all these things must be cleaned, and make sure that you seal it with silicone. Any welded connections must be backed up with a bolt. So majority of this fire escape, it has very few welded connections that need a bolt. But she's a candidate for a load test. So once we rebalance the cantilevers, this one can be one of those that can be load tested if it's going to stay. There's conversation that says this thing is going to be moved and reconfigured, so this might be going away as part of the reconfiguration of the fire escape. The feet need to be addressed so that they are properly, probably going to need a foot back here and a foot back on the other side. Then we can cut off the excess probably right around here so that it still carries the lost tread. Don't forget on the paint, this is older than 1978, so presumed to have lead unless we have a document that says it's low lead or no lead from a licensed Illinois lead inspector. Otherwise, our EPA renovator's license is required. We got to verify that this is properly attached into the ground. As you can see, it is. I would tar this at least 6 to 12 inches so that the water is not eating the bases of these at all. So the sand does accumulate in there. So I would tar these so that it doesn't keep rotting the steel in this area right here. Let's look at it, see anything else. So again, with minor, so rebalancing the cantilever, minor cleaning of some of the rust in the platforms, this thing is ready for a load test. Any questions, Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary Video. This is Inspector Meneses. 866-649-0333, 866-649-0333. Now, I'm going to show you how he goes up slowly. Now, go up slowly and stop so that you can counteract it. So go up slowly. One more, and when she starts lifting, then just stay in that tread. There you go. So step back down one to control it, so that the chain is not going to smack that piece. That's why it's not right. All right, now step slowly forward, just so the chain doesn't have a major effect on the stringer there. And that's with a controlled ascent. Some people just basically get off this thing, and if you can imagine during an emergency, this thing's going to try to yank this whole staircase down. So this is improper. It needs a release arm so that it drops 2 to 3 feet per second, hits the ground and stays down. People can self-evacuate, and people can get back up the thing that are firemen fighting the fire. Fire Escape Engineers, 866-649-0333. Fire Escape Engineers, Inspector Summary Video. What we have here is a fire escape that has been kept painted. The cantilever is out of balance. It does have original hardware, but the original hardware on this one is 25 to 50 years old. Probably built in the 60s. Fire escape's in good order, and a lot of welded connections need to be, to avoid the load test, we need to mechanically back up all the welded connections, otherwise we have to x-ray or load test. A lot of the hardware here is hex head hardware, but again, it's already 25 to 50 years old, so it's due for a load test to verify. Some of these connections does have rust in it, but again, rust that is in the maintenance kind, we got to clean it out, seal it up so that the rust doesn't get back in there. And this fire escape is a candidate. All the treads are good. I would vote for this one to be load tested, similar to the other fire escape report that we did there. Now, the one thing that is happening in the future is most likely this fire escape is going to be married to that one, so we can remove the entire contents of the lower portion of that one. So there's going to be a catwalk coming from this fire escape there, marrying to this fire escape here, along this whole entire line right here. Once it comes to here, we're now going to take this staircase, we're going to go out here and go down and marry that platform, which is going to become a double. This cantilever unit is going to go away, and it's going to stay in a down position with a cage if required, so that it's no longer a cantilevered system here. And this will allow us to basically eliminate one fire escape and use this one. But this staircase is going to move out here, this platform is going to expand out, and that platform is going to become a double to accept the outside staircase, because now we need this all the way across to marry this into a platform. Coming out the door, I would go out this way, go down the stairs, go back to this platform, go down the stairs with or without a cage down there. So this is a candidate for a load test. Needs rebalancing. We need a release arm on here if this is going to get fixed only and not played or joined into the other one. It's going to have a release arm here. Once you release it, it's going to drop 2 to 3 feet per second, hit the ground, and stay down. This fire escape is fairly new construction, again 25 to 50 years old. It is a candidate for a load test, and all these connections are devoid of any rust, so this fire escape is ready for a load test or to be joined with this other fire escape. And the conversation is to remove all this lower portion. That stays. Catwalk all the way across, hits that one becomes a double. That staircase there then comes out to the double, comes down. This lower platform here is a double, marries into it, goes into it, and then it's a full fixed stair to the ground with or without a cage, permanently stays down all the time. The cage will provide protection for safety issues if you're concerned. And then we eliminate the whole weight balance. So this staircase from the pivot point down just basically gets cut off, and this thing can be done. Getting down to the ground, these feet should be, there's a lot of snow and ice that accumulate. These feet should be all tarred up so that we can save the feet as best we can, because all that sand and that snow and that salt will eat these. Don't have any obstructions underneath. This one was further out. We had to move it in order for this to come down. That one, such as, there's got to be areas that you got to mark off on these that says nothing underneath that would stop it from ever coming down. Over there was the trash can, wouldn't let it come down, so the trash can has to be moved to a new location and chained there so that nobody ever moves it to a convenient area. Same thing here. Sometimes, either you permanently affix it or you chain it so that nobody can ever move it and put it underneath the wrong place. Any questions? Fire escape engineers, Inspector Summary Video. This is Inspector Meneses. 866-649-0333. 866-649-0333. The authority having jurisdiction shall accept by load test or other evidence of strength. This is one that we're looking to load test to give the guarantee as opposed to an opinion letter.